Did you know that as of 2025, American travelers who once enjoyed one of the most powerful passports in the world are now facing unexpected barriers in countries they used to visit freely? From increased visa restrictions to outright entry bans, many nations have shifted their stance on U.S. visitors due to diplomatic strains, geopolitical tensions, and changing immigration policies. In this video, we reveal the 10 countries that have either imposed new visa requirements or started turning away American travelers altogether. So, if you're planning an overseas trip, this is your wake-up call. Stay tuned until the end to avoid costly travel surprises. Let's start with Russia, where American travelers are encountering some of the strictest entry conditions in recent history. Following a breakdown in diplomatic negotiations in late 2024, the Russian government declared the suspension of all visa simplification agreements with the U.S. Travelers must now apply through Russian consulates, facing wait times that can stretch for over a month. The process involves biometric fingerprinting, a criminal background check, and proof of political neutrality. Yes, your online posts can be scrutinized. Additionally, Russia has implemented random border checks for Americans already inside the country, often leading to interrogations and detentions. The days of casual trips to Moscow or St. Petersburg are long gone. In China, the visa landscape has changed dramatically. Once offering 10-year multi-entry tourist visas to Americans, the Chinese government now requires a separate visa application for every trip. This change, enacted in response to heightened surveillance and cybersecurity concerns, involves in-person interviews at Chinese consulates and detailed documentation of your travel history. Your itinerary must be pre-approved, and applicants are expected to submit personal statements explaining the purpose of their visit. Even minor social media comments critical of the Chinese government have led to visa rejections. U.S. business executives, previously welcomed, are now experiencing lengthy delays and enhanced background vetting, particularly if they're involved in tech, media, or defense sectors. Turkey has also moved in a new direction. While American travelers previously enjoyed the ease of obtaining an e-visa in minutes, that convenience is now history. In 2025, Turkish immigration authorities began requiring detailed disclosures, including past travel to politically sensitive regions, employer background, and contact with NGOs. Turkey's newly amended entry policy is part of a broader shift toward reciprocal scrutiny, where visa requirements are imposed on nations that impose strict measures on Turkish citizens. Americans flagged for prior visits to Greece, Armenia, or Israel are reportedly facing additional hurdles. These measures have had a chilling effect on American tourism and business exchanges in cities like Istanbul and Ankara. Venezuela has placed the United States on its high scrutiny list. The change comes amid diplomatic escalations over sanctions and allegations of interference in domestic politics. Americans now need to apply for visas well in advance, with required documentation including personal bank statements, hotel bookings, and a formal letter of invitation. The process must be done through Venezuelan embassies, with no online or visa on arrival options. U.S.-based journalists and humanitarian workers are routinely denied access. Travelers who have ties to U.S. government organizations or NGOs are often blacklisted. Moreover, U.S. citizens traveling without clear purpose have reported being detained for hours upon arrival and, in some cases, deported. Bolivia has reinstated a strict visa regime for U.S. nationals. Once part of a wave of South American nations offering relaxed entry, Bolivia changed course following policy shifts emphasizing sovereignty and national identity. As of 2025, Americans must apply for a tourist visa in advance, submitting multiple documents: a valid yellow fever vaccination card, proof of travel insurance, a full itinerary, a police clearance certificate, and even proof of a return flight. The $160 visa fee must be paid upfront, and the application process typically takes 10 to 15 business days. On arrival, visitors can expect enhanced questioning by immigration officers, particularly in La Paz and Santa Cruz, where tensions with U.S. foreign policy remain high. Nigeria, Africa's most populous country, has updated its visa requirements with national security as the driving force. Americans are now subject to a pre-approval system that involves registering through a government portal, waiting for clearance, and then applying for a visa through the embassy. New security measures include biometric scans, submission of employment history, and verification of local contacts. In 2025, the Nigerian government has also begun rejecting visa applications from Americans who work in sensitive industries like petroleum, journalism, and international development. U.S. citizens with Nigerian heritage face added complications if their dual nationality status is unclear or unregistered. Traveling to Cuba has never been simple for Americans, but in 2025, it's become almost impossible for leisure travelers. The Cuban government has narrowed the already limited number of visa categories that apply to Americans. Tourism is still prohibited outright. Only those traveling for officially approved purposes such as humanitarian aid, academic research, or professional meetings can apply. The visa application must now include a detailed itinerary and a list of contacts in Cuba. Moreover, travelers must keep receipts and logs of their activities for up to 5 years and are subject to audits by U.S. authorities on their return. Flight options are severely limited, and U.S. citizens caught violating these rules risk fines and entry bans from both countries. North Korea has long discouraged American travel, but in 2025, the regime has enacted a formal and complete ban on all U.S. citizens. This includes journalists, diplomats, and even Red Cross workers. The North Korean Foreign Ministry issued a statement citing espionage concerns and declared that any American attempting to enter through China or Russia would be treated as an unlawful infiltrator. This shift follows a series of cyberattacks blamed on U.S. operatives and an increase in military posturing in the region. American tourists found violating this ban can be detained indefinitely without consular access. The U.S. State Department, in turn, has warned that it cannot guarantee assistance or extraction for citizens who attempt to enter the DPRK. Bhutan, the secluded Himalayan kingdom known for its environmental consciousness and high-value tourism strategy, has revised its entry rules for American visitors. Bhutan now requires Americans to use a government-certified tour operator and pay a sustainable development fee of $250 per person per day. This fee covers lodging, meals, and guides, but comes with strict limitations. Travelers must stick to an approved itinerary, avoid politically sensitive areas, and refrain from independent exploration. Visas are granted only after background screening, and any prior visits to countries with diplomatic tensions with Bhutan, such as China or India, may result in rejections. Last but not least, Iran has closed its doors entirely to American visitors in 2025. Relations between the two nations have deteriorated to a historic low, with visa issuance halted indefinitely. Previously, Americans could travel in guided tour groups with government-approved chaperones, but even that narrow window has closed. Iranian embassies and consulates no longer process visa applications from U.S. citizens, and American travelers who attempt entry via third countries such as Turkey or Qatar are turned back at the border. Moreover, Iran now imposes permanent bans on Americans affiliated with the U.S. military, media, or politics, even retired or former officials. In conclusion, the global map is changing, and so are the rules of international travel. American passport holders who once enjoyed widespread access are now facing closed borders, complex visa procedures, and political roadblocks. These 10 countries serve as a stark reminder that geopolitics has a very real impact on your travel plans. If you're planning an international adventure in 2025, make sure to research thoroughly, apply for visas well in advance, and stay informed about changing diplomatic relations. If this video helped you better understand where Americans are now restricted, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to 10 Globe Trips. Which country surprised you the most? Have you experienced visa delays or denials firsthand? Share your story in the comments below, and as always, safe travels. wherever your passport takes you.